What's happening, crypto fam? You're tuned in to the Elite Wealth Podcast, where we unlock the secrets of crushing it in the Web3 and cryptocurrency space. My name's Tyler Brewer, alongside the co-host Garrison Raleigh, and since 2016, we've been educating, enriching, and empowering thousands of students across the world on how to make waves and create generational wealth in this space.
Each episode, Tyler and I keep it real with you, analyzing the top market movers and industry leaders, the latest news, and how to avoid the potholes on the road to crypto riches. We're industry vets who have guided students to over 500% gains in this wild 2024 market.
We will teach you how to level up your mindset and skills to really capitalize on this decentralized revolution.
Subscribe now and join us every week as we lead you step by step into elite digital wealth with the Elite Wealth Podcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome to part 2 of navigating the DeFi landscape. What's going on, Garrison? What's up, brother?
Yo, been thinking, man. Do you ever think voting mechanisms are rigged or manipulated? Do you ever feel like any governments lie about where the money goes? Or do you ever feel like any government lies to their population as a whole? Do you think they call it sand because it's where the sea meets the land? No, but
bro,
those first three questions, though.
We're getting deep to start it off here, man. Yeah, honestly though, you know how I feel about this. I think a lot of these things, whether they have been or haven't been, I think DeFi in general and blockchain in general has the ability to take the the trust factor out of this, and we can actually not even have that any of those be a question. But yeah, man, I think that's a good way to jump into this. Guys, again, this is DeFi, or navigating the DeFi landscape part 2. We're going to go over a couple different things from decentralized governance and voting. We're going to go over some DeFi insurance. We're going to cover a little bit of synthetic assets, some cross-chain interoperability, and DeFi in the traditional finance world, and some integration. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Garrison, you asked a couple of good questions right off the bat. Do you think voting mechanisms are rigged or manipulated, or maybe have they ever been? And this is a good question, bro. You think just recently here back in the US, doesn't matter what you believe in, what color you are, what race you are, where you've been from, who you believe in, doesn't matter. But what if your party claimed that they were, the voting was rigged and you had no way to verify it as a regular schmegular Joe walking the streets? Like, you just kind of got to believe them. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I think, I guess I'll explain what decentralized governance and voting is. It allows token holders to participate in decision-making processes for DeFi protocols through voting mechanisms. So it's all on the blockchain, and as we've talked about in the past, blockchain is it's immutable. You can't change it once it happens, and it's transparent, so everybody can see it. So imagine if we're voting for the president of the United States or the president for your country, or voting for anything in general.
A new coffee machine at work.
Yeah, exactly. You can go on, you can vote through the blockchain, and you'll be able to see all the answers. You won't be able to rig it. They can't have an influx of votes in, or if it'll be at least be able to be proved if it was rigged or not.
Yeah, bro. Making it a lot more trustworthy, right? And I think that's probably the biggest part in DeFi in general, is it makes a more trustable factor, because when everybody knows how it works, everybody can see how it works, and they can see it when it's working. That makes it transparent, bro. And if anybody wants to go check it out, they can. Like you said, it's immutable. It's on the blockchain. It's public information. But dude, yeah, you take a scenario that happened not too long ago, and whether the party was right or not, we got Trump and Byron, right? I think that was the 2020 elections.
Yeah.
Trump claimed that it was rigged, and it doesn't matter who you believe in or who you wanted to win or who won. At the end of the day, imagine it was the guy you wanted to win, and they claim that it was rigged, but the only thing you could go off of was their word. You just got to trust them. How well do you even know those guys? Like I'm gonna trust Garrison. Garrison tells me something, I'm gonna trust him. But if somebody on TV tells me something, considering maybe they've lied about aliens, or lied about smaller things that I don't really care about, then they'll lie to you about anything. Think about it like a relationship. If you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a them thing going on, um, whatever you're doing, right? If you have a significant other and they lie to you, what are you gonna believe him again, bro? Garrison, you got a significant other, bro. She lies to you. I'm going out with the girls, and she was out with the boys, bro. You gonna trust her again?
Nah, nah,
Nah,
that's
bro.
a simple answer.
Trust was ruined. And even your friend, right? Let's say your friend said he didn't steal from you, but you got cameras and you didn't tell him, and you saw him steal something. Are you gonna
Oh,
trust him? Big
big
L,
L.
right? And I think that's where that decentralized governance and voting, without even really going into the debate, like the details of the challenges or opportunities, or kind of Garrison even broke down what it actually is. But imagine a place, right? It's almost like a dreamland where you don't have to even question anything like that. It's all open to everybody, and maybe it's not public information. You could have an address, right? A public address, which nobody knows who you are. They just know you as a hash phrase. 0x212234 BUI capital Z, like, whatever it is. So, bro, I think decentralized governance and voting is a huge thing. We, like I said, we look at the challenges, the opportunities. I don't know that there's as many challenges, maybe on the smart contract side of things, but as far as opportunities, I see a lot of opportunities here.
Yeah, I feel like really the only challenge there could be is really big scale voting, like voting for the president. Like everybody who's voting isn't going to know how to get on to the blockchain and make it do whatever they have to do to vote. So I guess that could really be like the only challenge I could see personally.
Good point.
Um,
Good point. Yeah, maybe you get a different you like a different target audience. Like you said, I didn't even think about that. You get a different target audience and only, you know, 18 to 30-year-olds are voting, and you no
and I'm
longer have the
Yeah,
boomers.
I'm sure there's ways to get around it too, because a lot of the time you walk into the courthouse or wherever you're voting and you're already doing it on a computer anyway. So if they
Hmm.
can just set it up seamlessly for you where you just enter your name, you have to probably put a picture of your ID or something to approve that it's you.
Yep.
And
You get a public address or something, and
yeah,
it's
but
got to, yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, there's ways. I think there are probably some challenges, but I think there's small humps, right? I think those opportunities, we're gonna have a lot more opportunities
exactly.
than we do challenges. And I think even with everything and decentralize everything, I think there's always more positives than negatives.
Yeah, and it's just more transparent. It's a lot easier to, like we said earlier, you can go on there and check yourself if you want to, and
Yeah.
nobody's really going to even try and lie at that point, I feel like, because they know it's right in thin air. And
And there's more of accountability. Like,
exactly.
because if you do lie, you can get caught up in your lie. But if you're like, nah, bro, it wasn't fraud, and it really was, like, there was no way to verify. Like, imagine again, same scenario, you have a significant other and you lie to them about what you did, like, and they never find out. Well, oh well. But what if everything was verifiable? You'd probably start telling the truth a little more.
Excuse me.
You're
But
good,
yeah,
bro.
I know we've talked about DAOs before, decentralized autonomous organizations. I think all right, pretend you launch a project and you have thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of investors. So you don't really it's hard to figure out exactly what every person investing in your project wants. So maybe you're going to give the top holders or a specific amount of holders voting rights into it. If they get voting rights, it's easier to align, incentives between the users of the protocols and, also align with making sure the decision that you're doing isn't going to, run away your current investors. And if you have voting rights into the protocol, you're also probably more likely to invest in something like that because you will have a say.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I mean, like, it's like if you buy a timeshare and you don't use it, it was a waste of money. Like, if you buy the timeshare, bro, you're probably gonna use the timeshare.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like you made some good points there too, bro. Like obviously a DAO is probably a little more common to mine in your ears. But
Right.
there's so much potential when it comes to those, like, giving the people the power and empowering the users to have the say in the financial services they use. Like, even for me, bro, I'm having trouble accessing my own funds right now for the end of the month move, because I'm moving to a new place. So, like, even that, bro, like, it's my own money, dude. I put it there. I chose to put it there. What do you mean I
Yeah.
can't have it at my own, So that's crazy. Imagine everybody who's tired of that says, "Hey, look, we don't want that. Let's vote against this, actually. Let's say you can get your money whenever you want, and you're going to pay no fees." How does that
Imagine
sound?
imagine
Vote.
if all the sorry, I didn't mean to cut
You're
you
good. You're
off.
good. You're good.
Imagine all the users, like this is just an example that's happened and probably people are familiar with. Imagine if all the users on Twitter or X were able to vote whether it was changed to X from Twitter, and probably would still be Twitter in my opinion, but still, like,
Yeah, bro.
even in things like that, like, I mean, I'm sure people didn't delete the app because they changed the name. Maybe some people did, but still, you can at least hear out your holders or investors.
Yeah, you get to hear the voices of the people, man. And I think that's most important, because what do the people want? Do they really want the pizza party as a reward at
Right.
work? Or maybe they just want $20, bro, $10, $15. Maybe they'd be happier than that, than a pizza
Yeah.
party.
Or if we could vote on policy changes in the world, like, and
Yep.
when someone says they want to do something like cut taxes, or maybe they want to higher interest rates, or everybody can vote logically and
Yeah, man.
and come to an agreement, and it would actually be a popular vote that people would trust because you can actually see this information.
Facts, man. Yeah. And I think like some stipulations on those DAOs, right? Because they're token holders, shares, voting rights. A lot of the times those people who are voting have to own the shares, which again is, you don't want it to be like a financial, like, gain from it. Like, not that you're gaining money, but more like, if Garrison's got 2 million and I have $100, he doesn't get anything extra for, because he's got 2 million. And that could be potentially, maybe a problem if only if Garrison's vote is more powerful because he has more money. That's where things like that could be a little scary. But again, there's smart contracts in place where, everybody has that fair share. You might have to hold a certain amount, but think about, like, let's say you want to vote for, like, governance on owning pets, but you don't even own a pet. Why should you have any say about owning pets, bro? Like,
For
if I
real.
want if I want Pocahontas to sit on my counter while I'm cooking my dinner, she should.
That's his
Uh,
cat, by the way, for those who
she's
don't
right.
know.
Yeah, bro, she's right here. You can get her. Anybody watching, you get a little sneak peek. Pocahontas, say what's up.
Aw.
Um, but yeah, bro. So, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Okay, but my screen went black. I got scared. So let's hop into the next topic here. But yeah, bro, decentralized governance voting. There's um, so many different routes you could
Pros.
take it. Not
Yeah.
just like presidential voting. You could take it super far. Like I joked about the pizza party at work, right? Maybe you don't want the pizza party. You'd rather have $5 in your pocket because you
Yeah,
brought
from
lunch to.
businesses to, little community things to whatever, any type of voting. But yeah, so we'll go ahead and move into the next part, DeFi insurance. Tyler, do you want to explain kind of how DeFi insurance works and kind of what it is?
Yeah, bro, I'll hop right into this. So, DeFi insurance is kind of cool. There's more possibilities and potential, I think, than there actually is real life use case at the moment. I know there is real life use case. And by real life use case, I mean like instances where there really is DeFi insurance. Like, what could you insure? And coverage types or examples would be like a smart contract failure. So let's say, Garrison, and this actually kind of happened to you, right? You tried to buy an NFT. You paid the gas, you paid the money, and the transaction failed, but you still paid,
Right.
right? And maybe he could have insured that way if he doesn't get the NFT, that he keeps the money, almost like it's like an escrow holding. So Now that would be a whole different aspect, the escrow holding versus him just being insured on, hey, if my smart contract fails and I lose the money, they're gonna pay me out. And there's stablecoin depegging. We have examples like Luna, Terra Luna, I think it was, or Luna UST, bro. So long ago, I feel like. But
Yeah, it has been.
it's hard to remember. But like Oracle failures, hacks or exploits. So it kind of works, I would assume. In again, I don't have personal experiences, more based off research, but like you have premium payments. So again, similar to traditional finance, but it's going to be simpler and easier to work. Premium payments. So users would pay premiums in cryptocurrency or stable coins, which sweet. But also at the same time, it's like I kind of want to pay in fiat currency, something that is losing value, uh, which is probably why they don't want it. So premiums are often based on perceived risk of the insured protocol. So depending on what it is or the potential risk, and this is where it gets kind of cool because we talk about again, this is on the more potential. I don't know that there's a project that does this, but think about like a futures market or predictive markets, but you say, hey, look, it's hurricane season here in Florida. We just had a small one miss. There's another one building up. What if right now I could be like, yo, let me put 2K, let me put a 2K bet, right? Not really bet, but let me put 2,000 down in this insurance protocol. If I get hit, I'll be good. I'm covered. If I don't get hit, they keep then they win out. Whoever does get hits, that's how they win because it's a predictive market. But imagine it, right? People are going to be moving all. Me and Garrison joked about this earlier, but people be moving all over the place. Like, yo, bro, let me find the next natural disaster. I'm gonna buy some land, build some house, and put a little futures bet that a NATO Sharknado is going to come through and wreck my little villa. So obviously joking, but there's so many potentials like DeFi insurance that you could take it so far into many different routes. You
Yeah.
think you have things like the risk assessment. So in this process, the protocols are gonna be analyzed for any vulnerabilities. Historical data and audit reports are gonna be considered. They're gonna look into that stuff. Liquidity pools. So many DeFi insurance and protocols use liquidity pools to back their policies. Users can provide liquidity and earn returns, similar to borrowing and lending. Um, Kind of the same thing, right? You're lending the money that's going to be paid out in exchange for a return on your investment or your lending. So then you can claim when you want to claim the claim process. So when an insured event occurs, users file claims. So claims are typically verified by smart contracts and sometimes human review. I would say probably in the DeFi, in this DeFi insurance realm, I would probably assume most of these are going to be verified by smart contracts. But again, I think they're maybe one of the downfalls, bro, or a challenge could be something where it's like a specific case where it requires human human nature, right? Forget the corporate structure. Like, hey, look, bro, sometimes you need to be an understanding human. Like, and I think that having human review on some of these smart contracts verifying the claims, because what if it like denied it, bro, because of like 1 penny, 2 pennies, or like a buck, or you missed it by 13 feet. Like, bro, I think sometimes, and maybe I'm wrong for this, but I think sometimes in scenarios like where maybe there's some odd scenario like that, right? I'm kind of talking more real life event, like the predictive market. If a hurricane came through and hit you and you're replacing, your insurance claim, or your premium, you put your premium down, like that could potentially, I think it could potentially have some human review that might be needed. But again, there's probably ways to code it or hey, look, with whether it's plus or minus this many, then you could be lenient. I'm sure there's even ways to kind of do that as well. Um, but then again, right, if you make the claim you want the payout. So how's the payout mechanism work? Well, their approved claims are usually paid out in stable coins or the original asset that it was taken out in. Which same thing with borrowing and lending, right? If you lend or you borrow Aave, they want you to pay you back in Aave. But the problem is sometimes if you take that loan out in Aave, and when I take the loan out, it's at $100 and it pumps up to $120. I still own the same amount of Aave with small interest. But keep in mind the US dollar value could have gone up and increased. So you might owe more in US dollars but owe the same amount of Aave or whatever token you take out as the original asset. And then we talked about, right, DAOs, governance. So token holders often have voting rights on policy terms, claims, approvals, etc. So the people are going to be kind of partially in charge. They're not going to probably allow something that would make the company suffer as a result of the voters' rights. Like if they were like, yo, let's just get rid of the liquidity pool and give it all to the people. Like I'm sure they're gonna be like, yeah, bro, that's we will go under, the company will be gone. That would, I don't think they would allow that to happen. And then yeah, bro, I think that pretty much covers kind of a little more on the process of DeFi insurance, how it could work, what could happen. But if you go
Yeah.
more in depth, it's really just decentralized protocols offering coverage against smart contract failures, hacks, and other DeFi specific risks. What do you think about that stuff, bro? Like, is
I've
DeFi insurance something that you're interested in? Like, is that
I've actually personally thought about it before. Um, but I'm big on, doing my own research and making sure I do all this before I connect my wallet or send my money somewhere. So I decided against it, but like I think it's very beneficial, especially for those who may be new in the space, and I'm also not handling with, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars.
right?
So at once, it's not like, I feel like I need insurance on, whatever I'm specifically moving. But if I am getting up into the millions, maybe that is something I do want to insure and protect. So I think
Yeah,
I
man.
think it's very beneficial to the space. Um, and people who, you know, are a little worried about being in the space can protect themselves. And I also do think it has a lot of real world use case down the road.
Definitely, bro. Definitely. I was actually listening to another podcast called What Bitcoin Did, pretty big podcast, and he was talking about right, we're talking about DeFi insurance, but he was talking about kind of security in a way where like he's big on like multiple like how Ledger offers like, oh, we'll keep part of your seed phrase, you keep the other, and you need and like another one goes somewhere else and you need two of the three to verify it or whatever it is. There's multiple different like storage devices that are like that versus just like, hey, Garrison's got his seed phrase stored in a safe place that he feels safe. But the host of that podcast actually brought up a good point, and he brought up the fact that like, well, bro, what if like, what if somebody's like trying to rob you, like, and this has happened. There's things like this that have happened before. I don't know like exactly which ones have, which ones haven't, but like, imagine, bro, people think maybe you have more Bitcoin than you do, or you got more Bitcoin than like, and maybe than people think, and you're still an attractive target, right? Because we're talking about crypto, we're pretty well versed, but he's talking about like, bro, well, what happens if they make threats or they kidnap you and like you actually don't have the other part that they need or they can't verify, dude. It would have to be kind of, and the host was saying he's big on the like kind of delegating some of that seed phrase in order to have more security against himself and his family. But also in the same sense, bro, like you have to trust that company. Now, this is one thing I actually heard Michael Saylor talk about too, was trust. And this is big because we trust companies every day. You trust your bank account. You trust, like, bro, you just trust that when you swipe a card, they're going to deduct exactly what you swiped and do the process correct. You just
Right.
trust that. You trust them with your money. People trust, financial advisors. People trust all sorts of different types of companies, people's things. And in crypto, we're like, don't trust unless it's on, everybody could see it. It's on the blockchain. It's mutable, public information. But like, we, in a way, trust Coinbase to hope that our assets are, we can buy those assets when we want, where we want them, and we can kind of move them around freely. We trust that they're, when they're in there or whatever other centralized exchange you use that you trust, you're trusting them to an extent. And that conversation that I heard Michael Saylor talk about mixed with that other podcast host with his, what he was saying, it kind of in a way makes sense, bro. Like, we've always been so for having, being the main source of storage. Like you are at fault if it gets lost. You are at fault if, you're not secure enough. But in a way, this kind of relates back. And the reason I'm talking about this is because it relates back to that insurance where maybe it's not against your doing. What if it was malicious doing that you're insuring against? And that maybe is on the flip side of the conversation too. But I think it's interesting, bro. Like you said, maybe for I think it's for everybody probably, but I think it's probably more appealing to somebody who's a little more wealthy than we are.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially when you're playing with a couple millions of dollars, probably
Yeah.
does make sense. It's definitely something to look into.
Definitely, bro. Definitely. And it's again, there's probably more potential for it. I'm sure Garrison and I don't know everything about all these topics or even the ones interrelating as far as like traditional finance, but we do our best to bring you the precise and accurate information on these things that we are researching. Like the things we've covered in pretty much every podcast. We've done a little extensive research and learn more because of it ourselves, but there's so many potentials and things that could be done even for good or bad in everything, because everything's really a tool that could be used in both good and bad ways. But yeah, man, I think there's so much we could talk about this stuff nonstop all day long, 24/7. You'd have to pay us to shut up. But let's keep our feet moving, bro. Let's keep swimming. Let's progress forward. Um,
But
synthetic assets, man. Um, synthetic assets. So these are tokenized derivatives that mirror the value of other assets, enabling exposure to traditional finance assets in the DeFi space. Now, I'm not going to say this is a synthetic asset because I don't technically know, but or that it's like characterized as one. But an example of this is right. You have MicroStrategy. In a way, I would argue that it is, but I don't know that it's technically labeled that. Let's say for some reason you work for a financial advisor, or you're a financial advisor, you work for Fidelity or some group like that. A lot of those guys can't hold cryptocurrency; they're not allowed to hold it. Now, they could buy MicroStrategy's shares because Michael Saylor owns like 99% of their treasuries in Bitcoin. Now, you're technically not exposed directly to Bitcoin because you bought traditional finance items, right? Traditional finance assets. In reality, right? The markets that stock price is fluctuating because of the volatility of Bitcoin too. People trade volatile markets. They don't want a market that's slow and just not moving and it's stagnant. If you look at majority of the S&P 500 companies, bro, like dude, a lot of those are not doing good.
yeah, and I know BlackRock has talked about like tokenizing their assets. So imagine you could, invest in their assets or invest in BlackRock on the blockchain. Um, Kind of enables, 24/7 trading of traditional assets because the blockchain never shuts down. So
Facts.
there's I do yeah, it's pretty interesting because it can go both ways and it does provide global access to like a lot of the financial markets, which is hard to get if you're, you know, in the US. It's hard to get access to the China markets, or in China
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to get access to the US markets. So
Yeah, and I think like, dude, you think of people that are in our Discord too. So I'm sure you could think of specifically a few, bro, but there's a couple people that are in other countries other than the US. A lot of people that listen to this probably are in the US. There's some that listen to it outside of it, but we have a lot of friends that are outside the US and other countries,
yeah.
third world countries, first world, you name it, we know them. But my point is like they're in a place where they can't use cryptocurrency. If they do, their bank will literally ban them from using the bank. Like they're like, no, you have to use our native asset, our native token, our native US, they're not US, our native fiat currency. And so like imagine like in a real life example, bro, you're a user in another country with capital controls gaining exposure to foreign stocks, commodities through the synthetic assets. In a way, it's a legal loophole.
Yeah, no, it's definitely is. Um it's pretty interesting. Like we said,
Yeah, it
there's
is, bro.
there's a imagine, a user in a country with capital controls gaining. Oh, he just said that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're good, bro. You're good. But dude, that's like the coolest part, I think, too, where you have people like that in third world countries, and it's like you allow them to have that exposure, bro, versus it being illegal and the bank banning them because they sent cryptocurrency out of their or they used money from their bank to buy cryptocurrency or sent money from a crypto exchange to their bank, and now they're like, yeah, no, we don't mess with that money. You need to use our money that loses 8% a year.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, man, it's kind of interesting, but again, synthetic assets. When you look at even like traditional finance versus the Web3 crypto realm, the tokenized assets, like Garrison talked about with BlackRock. But when you look at that stuff, it's again, there's so much room for opportunity with this.
Yeah,
There's so much room, and a lot of it, I'm sure if somebody had more knowledge, even on some traditional finance or history and knowledge, they could give more in-depth examples, bro. But like, that example of a user in another country is so powerful, and I think people don't understand it. Majority of people that we know don't understand that because they're in the States, and sometimes we forget here in the States that the world operates differently than we do. But let's hop right into some cross-chain interoperability. And I think it'll probably be easiest if we use gaming maybe as a way to an analogy to describe it,
for
right? Like what
sure.
does cross-chain mean? Is it possible?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I'm not gonna say in all cases, but should be possible in most cases. And basically what it does is it creates a bridge between different protocols and different blockchain networks to communicate and share the data. So pretend you're on a game and you have a Solana NFT, you have a Polygon NFT, and maybe your friend also has an Ethereum NFT and maybe a Bitcoin NFT, which is called an ordinal normally. And you guys can all play the same game using those characters. Um, and it's all different blockchains, but they're all on the same platform. So that's what cross chain means, is that Ethereum can work with Solana and Solana can work with Polygon. It doesn't necessarily mean all of them have to work together at once, but Ethereum can work with Solana, meaning that's a cross chain protocol.
Yeah, bro. And like you think about like video games too, right? Like when we were kids, it was almost like a dream. Like your buddy had a PS2 and you had an Xbox and
Yeah.
you both wanted to play together, but you didn't have that console and you weren't old enough to have money or get a job, and or at least maybe not smart enough was the problem, because you're always old enough to make money. You just gotta be a little smarter. But I can imagine, I can remember specific times, bro. I had a PlayStation 3. All my older buddies went to Xbox. And bro, I was like the loner on, like I had no more friends. Dude. I had to play by myself all the time. And like all I wish was like, dude, I wish we could like collaborate and play on the same internet, right? We were both playing on the internet. Why can't we combine them?
Right.
And
It's
now, bro, it's a reality where you
it,
actually can. You're playing with people on Xbox, on the computer, and VR sometimes now. Like it's getting gnarly, bro. And that's that cross-chain interoperability, obviously not in the Web3 or crypto
right.
blockchain world.
Yeah, it's not
But
necessarily referring to just crypto and Web3. So that's a good point you bring up there. And I guess some of the challenges is, obviously sharing all that data and value. Um,
yep.
it could be some security issues, but there's definitely ways. Obviously, they've done it safely before, and and it could be a little bit more complex if you're managing, different couple. Because usually, if you're signing, so for example, I play Rocket League a lot. Rocket League, you can play with different users on computer, or I play, sometimes Xbox, and there's PlayStation too. So you usually have to make a Rocket League account, which is Epic Games. And Epic Games you can create from PlayStation and Xbox while I'm playing on my computer, and then we can all play on the same spot. So you might have to make new accounts or things like that. So it could just be a little bit more complex or more passwords you have to keep up with, but there's definitely more opportunities. It'll definitely brings more liquidity to specific ecosystems. Like I know there's another game I'm trying to think of the name. Um we'll just say Rocket League again. That used to not be crossplay. You could only play on you could only play with PlayStation people. PlayStation people could only play with PlayStation people, and Xbox people could only play with Xbox. But now they're bringing it all together. Or if there's a specific game that's only for PlayStation, they're not going to be getting as much liquidity because Xbox and computer gamers can't also put their funds in there and play the same game.
Facts, bro. Yeah, and that's something to think about too, right? Like, it's almost it makes me think of like a Bitcoin being or cryptocurrency being illegal in a country. Like you're
Yeah.
driving liquidity elsewhere
Right. Yeah.
or limiting liquidity.
Yeah. And it does also reduce dependency on, specific blockchains as well. Because if
Yeah, you
Ethereum's
got the
being
help.
slow, it might be able to help you, it might be able to bring it all together and make it move faster, kind of pick up Ethereum slack or vice versa.
Yeah, bro. I could see the challenges for cross-chain interoperability, the background work. I could see that being a lot harder than some of these other things we talked about. Like,
For sure.
standardizing communication protocols. Like think about money, the communication between money from country to country. Like now, same conversation, but from platform to platform, protocol to protocol. Now you kind of have to standardize the communication between them. So I see the challenges here are probably going to be more difficult than the ones we previously covered. But again, the opportunities, bro, are always outweighing the challenges or negatives. At
Yeah.
least that I can see. Maybe I'm just really optimistic.
Well, I mean, these things are already happening. So obviously there are challenges, but people have gotten around it before successfully and still do it successfully to this day. Like Magic Eden is a NFT platform and they use every blockchain is on there. You can swap between each blockchain. Um, but yeah, no, it's still a thing out there. So um, it is awesome. It's I don't know where I'm going with that, but maybe
No,
we
it
covered
is, bro. Like it is awesome being able to utilize and bring. I think of even cross-chain interoperability, bro. Think about the wallets like MetaMask or Phantom Wallet or like these
right.
wallets that allow you to operate on multiple platforms, right? Multiple networks. Like that is killer, bro. Like you think like every website. You brought up something that reminded. Last thing I'll cover at least before we hop into the next topic, but you think about it, bro. How many logins do you have? You have your social, every social media, you got your bank, your
Right.
this, your that, your credit cards, your Hungry Howie's, your freaking Pizza Hut, bro. Like whatever, like you have all these accounts. Imagine one password, one login, and that allows you to operate on every platform. Again, that's standardizing the communication protocol or standardizing the communication between all parties is probably going to be the hardest part there. Again, this is back end work, probably coding stuff. Maybe there's something harder than that. That's out of my knowledge, but I see that there's things we're already operating cross chain or cross ing, right? They're cross compatible, I guess would even be another good word for this because cross chain, I think just even like that specific word, we're more referencing the networks, each blockchain
Yeah.
or network
True.
versus being cross compatible with each other, which I
Yeah.
think is even about the same thing, but more on a broad scale.
I think the last thing I have kind of for this is just a crypto example specifically. So there's a project called Polkadot. You can use their platform and you can seamlessly transfer assets between Ethereum and the Binance Smart Chain for optimal trading or yield opportunities. So actually, I've had to use this platform in it before because I had stuff on the Binance Smart Chain and I was trying to swap it for USD coin. I wanted to go into stable coins. I wanted to move it into something else and I wasn't able to with just regular. So it was stuck in my Exodus wallet for a little bit till I found Polkadot, and then I was able to seamlessly move it out of there without, because different gas fees. It's weird. So it was threw me off a little bit, but that platform definitely helped me a lot there. And there's different protocols for it. So
Yeah, man. There's even I feel like right? We had the proof of funds. We kind of talked about it in like a few previous episodes, or maybe one last one, two ago, whatever it was. But we've talked about all these, I would say, not innovations, but improvements or upgrades along the ways that we've had, and I think cross compatibility and cross chain interoperability is probably one of those things too, where like proof of funds, major thing. This
Yeah.
being cross compatible, if you weren't able to have NFTs on all chains, you didn't make it. You got thrown out the window. If you decided not to move on and integrate them, everybody left you behind.
I just thought of one more thing. Like imagine if banks were like communicating cross chain. So if I send my money over to Tyler, it doesn't take long because they got to verify it. Or if I want to send, money from my credit card to my debit, or well, you can't really do that. So if I want to send money from my debit card to pay my credit card, it would be a lot easier than having to transfer it from my debit to, that specific bank so I can pay off my credit. It would just go
Log into
by a
both
lot faster.
accounts.
Yeah, right. But let's go ahead and move into like DeFi and traditional finance, which they call TradeFi. Um, so DeFi and traditional finance integration. What
Yeah,
would you
bro.
say that is?
Well, eh, like I mean, it's again kind of in the definition itself is in the wording, right? It's
Right.
decentralized finance in the traditional finance world, but how does it integrate together? And I think the best way we can do this is think about how traditional finance currently works. And from there, I'm sure you can think of improvements. Think about all the issues you had with traditional finance, bro. I can name multiple in the past 2 days. Um, we're coming up. It's Friday. Tomorrow's not a business day. Banks are usually open on Saturday till about noon. If you don't make it before then, you're busy before then. Good luck getting your banking done until Monday. And if
Right.
Monday's a holiday, good luck. So
You're out of
and
luck.
like there, and that's I think that's even kind of a smaller issue. Like if you think about really again how traditional finance works, because we look at maybe the trust factor or like, where is this money going? And the reason I'm saying this is because there's an awesome interview with Tucker Carlson and Naya Bukele or whatever it is, but he's the president of El Salvador. I'm probably butchered his name. I'm sorry, bro. Love you, dude. You're awesome.
If you're listening,
But
keep
yeah,
listening.
right. Shout out to you, bro. Bitcoin City going crazy. El Salvador, safest place in the world now, which was once had the highest murder capital in the world in El Salvador. And I know multiple people, some of my friends, their family still lives there, their parents still live there, and they've gotten like houses stolen from them, bro. Like it's not like imagine somebody comes here and tries to steal your apartment, but you're gonna call the cops on them. If somebody does that there, it wasn't like bro, no, you were dead. Like that's it. That's theirs now. And it's like kind of like how we talk about Yap Island, bro. Yap Island, in the Bitcoin Standard, that's an amazing book. But in the Bitcoin Standard, they talks about Yap Island and people use rocks as payments, but not just little tiny rocks, little limestone circles, but they use huge boulders. And they were like, "Yo, Garrison owns that boulder over there, right by the stream. That huge ass boulder, that's Garrison's." And all the girls were like, "He owns that? Oh my god, that's his rock." And everybody knew that Garrison owned it. So he was known around the city. Oh, yo, bro, Garrison's rock over there. Did you see it cracked over the other day in the earthquake? Like, bro, they were talking about it. But the reason I'm saying this is because, you think about again traditional finance and how it works. Nayib Bukele, he was in a third world country, bro, and he was talking. And Garrison, if you actually could, Google how long it took to build the Empire State Building because it was just slightly over a year, but I don't know the exact time frame. Now, in what year was it as well? If you could also get that. But the reason I'm saying this is because what he was bringing up, El Salvador's president, 'cause I don't want to keep butchering his name, what he was saying is it was built in a little over a year. The whole Empire State Building built in a little over a year. But you have things. There's a railway in California. I think it's about 1,500 meters long. They've been working on it for a couple years now, put billions of dollars into it, and it's nowhere near finished. It's only 1,500 meters long.
So yeah, the
And
Empire State
go
Building
ahead.
took about a year and 45 days to construct.
Yep.
And it was 1930, March 17th of 1930 is when it started. And then May 1st of 1931 is when it opened to the public.
Think about the construction on the road.
That's crazy.
local to you. Think about the nearest construction on the road where you drive. How long have they been working on it? Think about there's the what is the Maryland Bridge that got hit by the cargo ship. I think it was that. Again,
Yeah.
Nayab, the president of El Salvador, brings up all these points. He says we're a third world country. The United States is a place that can print their own money, meaning they can kind of just create wealth out of thin air. They can create money out of thin air because El Salvador doesn't print their own money. They use somebody else's currency. Now, he brings up a good point because again, he said we were a third world country. We're slowly rising up. He said, but we were a third world country. In my country, he said, if that bridge went down, it would take a year, less than a year to fix it and have it working. He's like, we could actually probably have it in months. And then you look at things like the railway I just brought up. It was been being built for years, billions of dollars put into it. I don't remember the exact one. You guys can do the research, Google it. It's probably not hard to find. And if you look at the interview, he talks about it as well. But long story short, he goes over this and he says, this is the problem with the states. He says, people are paying all this money and nobody's really working. So where does the money go? Who's getting this money, this $1 billion to fix this railway, to build this railway? Because the Empire State Building was built in a year and 45 days. Huge building, guys. Huge building. And in 1930, guys, it's 100 years later. And I don't know when that bridge went down, the Maryland Bridge, but don't you think by now we should be able to fix shit a little bit faster?
It went down in March of this year.
March of this year, bro. So it's almost been we're what 5-6 months in.
And I just saw a couple days ago, well, I'll say a couple weeks ago. Um, and right now it's August 16th. They just finally got that boat moved out that crashed into it.
5 months later.
The first ship to pass the wreckage was on April 26th, which is okay, I guess, a month later. But
Wow, bro.
yeah, they just finally got that boat moved away
Wow,
like a
five
couple weeks
months
ago.
just to move the ship. So people are being paid to move that. And I'm sure you could probably see how much money, where, when, who's spending it. To an extent. You can't see all the details, but I'm sure you can see which company, or you can at least Google who's doing it. And the reason I'm bringing this up because we're talking about DeFi and traditional finance integration, right? How does traditional finance integrate to DeFi? These are things that will be improved. The bad use of money, whatever the term is for that, like people are just pissing away money realistically, bro. They're paying for nothing. They're getting taxed. They're getting their money stolen for nothing. They're paying taxes to fix this road, and this road should have been fixed in 5 days, and it's been constructed under for the last 5 years. And I believe, and I want to say this confidently, but it's hard because I don't know where everybody's from. I haven't been everywhere, but I would be willing to bet, bro, that everybody can think of the nearest construction near them because I pass construction on my way to work every day. I bet you can think and be like, dude, actually thinking about it, like if somebody worked on this every day for 6 months, bro, it should be done. Like in again, these are the challenges, right? There's probably challenges, but improvements. There's so much improving to be done. And when the money that's being spent and taken from us, taxes and inflation, when that money is hard money and it's can't be printed out of thin air, there's no room for this. It doesn't happen. It's on the blockchain. As Garrison said in the beginning, it's immutable. It's public. Everybody can see it. Can't change it. It is what it is, bro. And that and we can go in depth, right? It involves the adoption of DeFi principles and technologies by traditional finance institutions. There's many challenges, many opportunities. There's impacts all over, but ultimately, if you change money in the monetary system and upgrade it with the Web3, the current monetary system that Garrison and I are probably more familiar with, the way how money should be used, money and government should never be mixed. It wasn't always. Government wasn't always hey, let's give the government more tax a little bit more so we can fix the problem the government created in the first place. No, People fix problems. People fix the problems. Who's feeding the poor? Is it the government? No, people create nonprofit organizations to go feed people who cannot afford to eat. It's rich people doing that for tax breaks so they don't get stolen from. And there's so much I get really passionate about this, but there's really everything gets you fix the money, you fix at least half the world's problems.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. It's been, like you said, it does take forever to do anything nowadays, it seems like, because you gotta, pay people to even think about doing it. You gotta pay people to actually do it. Then you gotta pay people to, you know,
Make
watch
sure you
those
can
people
do it.
do it. You gotta pay those
Yeah.
people, you gotta pay the supervisors to watch them.
Yeah, man.
But
And there's so many things. Last episode, in the part one of navigating the DeFi landscape, we talked about all the countries that don't are underbanked, don't have banking. There was a ton of them, and that's another opportunity here, right? To fix that, to change that. And a real life example we could use, right? Fireblocks. It's a project. And it's a bank that offers clients access to DeFi yield opportunities through familiar banking interface. So something that doesn't look like crypto. It's going to be a regular, you'll log into your bank. It looks like your mobile banking app, and you're accessing crypto and you're in DeFi with different yield opportunities. So yeah, man, I think we could go over so many things. I don't even think we've really scratched the surface on what could be done inside of DeFi, right? There's privacy in DeFi, NFTs in DeFi, layer 2 solutions and scaling. There's so much more, bro, that we could talk about, but I don't want to yap on this
yeah.
forever. Is there any last remarks you want to have, bro, or say?
No, no, I don't have anything else, but besides, like, guys, just think about, Tyler always says this, think about what you think about, one, but two, also think about like what's around you and what actually goes on, and you know, how long has that road construction taken?
Oh, your awareness factor, bro.
Yeah, how long have we dealt with the same problems over and over? And this also, I guess this is kind of getting off topic here, but like, we've used the same school system for so long, we've used the same monetary system for so long. And it seems to be the only two things that we're kind of struggling with right now is money and people, paying for colleges and getting
Education, bro.
reliable education, which
Yeah.
that also comes down to just the monetary system, because you got to pay more for these professors, and you got to,
Yep.
there's a lot that goes into it. Like Tyler said, we could talk about this for the next 2 years straight, but
Facts, bro.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
man.
that's
And
all I got.
yeah, me too, bro. I'll wrap it up here. But guys, thank you for listening to the deep dive into these topics that showcase the vast potential of the DeFi to reshape finance from everyday banking and complex financial instruments. While challenges remain, particularly around regulation, security, and user experience, the opportunities for innovation and financial inclusion are absolutely significant. And as DeFi continues to evolve, it has the potential to create more open, way more efficient, and way more accessible financial systems for people all over the world. Guys, make sure you click the link, join the Discord, ask Garrison and I some questions, interact with us, have some fun. We have a giveaway with some t-shirts and some merch inside the Discord. Make sure you are there. We have fun on a nonstop basis. It's rule number one. If you're not having fun, why are you
Facts.
doing it? But guys, check us out. We're on YouTube. You're listening to this on some type of streaming platform, whether it is Apple Music, you're on Spotify, other ones that they stream to. I don't even know them, but we appreciate you. Thank you for always tuning in. Thank you for listening. If you guys have any questions, ask us in the Discord. Join the Discord. We'll see you there. Peace out, guys.
Peace.